Hi everyone! In this video, we will factor sums and differences of cubes. Factor 125x cubed minus 27. Here we have a binomial, two terms with a subtraction between. This means it can fall into two categories, either a difference of cubes or a difference of squares. So we're going to look at our numbers and see if I can square root or cube root them. So the first number is the number 125, and 125 is not a perfect square. So let's try a cube root. The cube root of 125 is 5. Now we know that that's a perfect cube. Let's go ahead and check out the variable as well. If I have x cubed and I'm looking for the cube root of x cubed is x. So 125x cubed is a perfect cube. And the cube root of 27 is not a square. 25 is a perfect square, so 27 is not a perfect square. So we're going to try the cube root of 27. And the cube root of 27 is 3. This tells us that the form that we have, this pattern, is a difference of cubes because it's being subtracted, so it's a difference. And this then can be factored into the pattern where we take the cube root of the first and the second, and we end up with a binomial and a trinomial. To complete the factoring, we need to follow the pattern where we take the cube root of the first one, and it goes in the first spot of our binomial. And we have already found the cube root of the first one, which is 5 and x. So we have 5x. And then we take the cube root of the second one, and it goes into the second part of our binomial. And the cube root of 27 is 3. And we're going to fill in our signs in a minute. Let's go ahead and fill in the trinomial on the second side. The trinomial over on our right side is where we square the first one. So we have 5x squared, which gives us 25x squared. Then for the middle term, we will take the cube root of both the first and the second, multiplying those together. 3 times 5 is 15, and we have an x, so the middle term is 15x. And then the last term, we'll take the very last term here, which was the cube root of the second one, and we square that, so we get 3 squared, which gives us 9. Now we have all the terms in the binomial and the trinomial, so now we need to fill in all of the signs, and this is the same for both the sum and the difference of cubes, that we follow the cube rooting of both of them to put in our binomial, and then for our trinomial, we'll square the first one, get a product of the two, and then square the last one. And then we follow the SOAP pattern for the signs that go in between. The S stands for the same. That means that the sign in the middle of our first, the binomial, is the same as the sign from either the sum or the difference. In this case, it's a difference, so that same sign will be a subtraction sign. The next for the O is the opposite. And then the last one is always positive. So the next sign in our trinomial, this one is opposite of the first one. So we had a subtraction in between, which means that I now have the opposite sign, which is positive. And the last one is always positive. So this is our factored form of our difference of cubes, and we're all done. We could always check this by multiplying everything in the binomial to every term in the trinomial and combining like terms. If you'd like to try that on your own, I highly recommend it. I won't spend the time on this instructional tutorial to go through that though.